There lived a saint in a village called Exes. He was meditating since years, and so he had achieved lot of divine powers. He could control fire, water, and wind. One day while he was meditating, he felt dizzy because of heavy sun and he fell unconscious. There lived 3 friends in that village. Their names were Charles, Paul, and Joseph. The 3 of them were very good friends. They always lived together. One day they all were roaming in the forest and suddenly Charles saw a saint.
Hey Paul, Joseph, see, it seems that saint has fainted. Come, let's go and check.
Yeah, let's go.
Saying this, the 3 of them went there. They saw that saint was unconscious. Charles sat near him and massaged his hands and feet. Paul brought water from the river and Joseph fanned him with a cloth. Then Joseph put water in his mouth and sprinkled some of them on his face. After some time, the saint regained his consciousness and the saint got up and asked them,
You have helped me so much. Who are you, son?
Sir, we were passing by and saw that you were unconscious, so we helped you.
Are you feeling better, sir? Yes, now I am feeling better. The 3 of you have helped me, so I am very happy with you. Charles, who massaged my feet, will have fire from the sun. And Paul, who put water in my mouth, will get energy from water, with the help of which he will create water wherever he wants. And the 3rd, Joseph, who fanned me with pleasant air. He will always have the energy of wind, and he will be able to create air as per his wish. I am giving the 3 of you these 3 powers, but never use these powers in the wrong way.
Hearing this, Charles, Paul, and Joseph became very happy, and they greeted the saint and went from there. While they were going, they had a question.
If these powers are really with us, we should know how to use them properly. Isn't it, friends? Yes, your idea is good. Come, let's test them.
Yes, come.
Now, Charles told his power.
Let that tree burn. Let that tree get extinguished.
At that time, there is rain on the tree and all of them keep staring at each other and they became very happy.
Let the deer fly in air.
As soon as he said that, wild deer started flying in the air. Seeing all this, all the 3 of them became very happy and returned home. The next day, when they were going in the village, they saw a thief running after stealing something. Then Joseph used his air power and pulled him. He handed him over to the police. Moving forward, they saw some men were working in the farm, but there were lots of grass because of which they couldn't work properly. They looked worried. Then Charles burnt the grass with his power and he helped those farmers. After few days, rainy season arrived. But there was no sign of rain there. The villagers were worried. Then Paul used his power and there was rain in the village. Seeing these things, the villagers were very happy and they got back to work. This way, these 3 friends helped different people in different ways. One day, due to a cylinder burst, there was fresh fire in a house. This news spread in the entire village and these friends also came to know. Then these 3 friends started helping other people also. With the help of Joseph's power, they flew and reached that place. Charles entered into the house because fire would not do anything harm to him. They entered into the house to rescue the people trapped there, and Paul went with Charles to help him extinguish the fire in the house. Then Charles told Paul,
I am rescuing the people trapped here. You extinguish the fire in the house. This will help me rescue the people of this house. Yes, let's go fast. Yes, let's go.
Saying this, both of them entered the house. The stuff in that house was burning. Then Paul went there and poured water on them. Charles rescued all the family members out of the house and they came out.
Really, all three of you are very helpful and wonderful people. Thank you very much.
Saying this, everyone started praising them. And then the three of them leave that place and started going to their work. This news spread everywhere. And in order to honor them and their work, collector organized a function. In that function, along with high-profile people, even the common people were invited. One day the function was organized and people gathered there. Then Mr. Collector came there and honored Charles, Paul and Joseph in front of everyone.
These three gems are priceless for us. We should respect the power they have been given. They have helped our village a lot, and so we will honor them.
Mr. Collector presented them garland and shawl to honor them. And seeing all this, Charles, Paul and Joseph were flaunting on air and they start using their powers in the right manner and always saved people. This story teaches us that we should never give up and always do good work. Never think ill of anyone, 'cause as you sow, so shall you reap.
There lived a tailor, Simon, in a village called Moratok. His wife Sophie, his three daughters, Stella, Sarah and Susie were there in his family. In a few days, the three daughters had their brother. Simon and Sophie named him Robert. Since he was the youngest in the family, he was dear to everyone. His needs got fulfilled very quickly. His sisters took very good care of him. He was growing now. Stella taught him. Sarah and Susie used to feed him and took care of him. When Robert grew up a little bit, Sophie started going to her husband's shop and started working there. Seeing this, Stella told Sophie one day, "Mother, will you go to the shop every day now?" "Yes, dear, I will have to go. Otherwise, how are we going to survive?" "Mother, you can go to the shop. We will take proper care of Robert." "I'm going to the shop, okay? All three of you, please don't fight with each other." "Yes, Ma." Saying this, Sophie goes to the shop. Now, Sophie starts stitching clothes with her husband. Simon says to Sophie,
Sophie, why did you start coming to the shop so soon? Our children are very young right now. You need to take care of them.
"You are right, but seeing your gradually increasing workload, I cannot sit idle at home. That's the reason I told Stella to take care and I came here."
Okay, fine.
Now Sophie and Simon stitched clothes on the shop together. After completing their work, they stepped out to go home. Now they bought some sweets while coming home. Children saw sweets in their hands and became very happy. And Robert told Simon,
"Daddy, did you bring these sweets for me?"
Yes, I have got different sweets for each one of you.
Now Simon sits with his children and Sophie goes and cooks food. Each child was happy to get their favorite thing. Everyone goes to sleep after having food. We are very fortunate, isn't it? Our daughters are so sensible.
Yes, Sophie, you are right. We are really very fortunate that we have such responsible daughters.
After I joined the shop, all of them take care of Robert and the house as well.
Yes, this is absolutely right. Come on, let's sleep now. We have to wake up early and go to the shop as well.
Yes. Saying this, Simon and Sophie go to sleep. The next day, as usual, Simon wakes up early and goes to the shop and starts working there. Then, after some time, Sophie also comes to the shop. After they used to go to the shop, Stella took care of household responsibilities. Few years passed. Robert had become very lazy. He used to sleep after having meal. He didn't care about his responsibilities. After few days, Robert's sisters got married and all the three of them went to their in-laws' house. Now Robert, Sophie and Simon lived in that house. Now no one did Robert's work. One day, Simon told Robert,
Robert, how long will you sit idle at home? Start doing some work or come with me and do the stitching work.
"Daddy, I don't know stitching and I am not going to stitch clothes and all."
Okay, do whatever you feel like doing, but understand one thing. Now we too are tired. We are not going to stay with you forever.
Yeah, I will do something or the other. Don't try to preach.
Come, Sophie, now we will take rest. He will do whatever he wants.
Now Simon and Sophie go from there. One day, their eldest daughter Stella came to meet them. Her mother and father were very happy to see her. Sophie told her daughter about Robert's behavior. Hearing all this, Stella told her parents, "Mom, Dad, both of you have worked very hard all these years. Now you should go on a pilgrimage and spend some time there. This will give you peace of mind and will let Robert realize his mistakes." "Yes, dear, you are right."
We will act this way.
Thinking this, Simon and Sophie went on a pilgrimage. Nobody except Stella knew about this. That's why Robert was worried, thinking, who will do his work now? Then he went outside and sat there. He saw an entire family passing by on the street. Then it came to his mind,
My family is also like this one, but where did my parents go? I don't know.
Then among the people who were passing on the street, the eldest son took the bag from his tired father's shoulder and asked him to walk freely. Robert recalls what his father had said and he got tears in his eyes. He felt that he had wrongly treated his parents.
I am a very bad son. I have mistreated my parents. Now, when my parents will come back home, I will give them lots of happiness. I will obey whatever they will say, and I will try to keep them happy always.
While Robert was thinking this, he saw his parents coming towards him. Seeing them coming home, Robert ran and hugged them. Angel and Emily have finished their college studies and now both of them were working in the same company. So they traveled together.
What is this? You are late by full 5 minutes. You know that I don't like waiting.
I'm very sorry. Actually, my mother is not feeling well, so I made porridge for her and got late.
Auntie gets sick very often nowadays. Why don't you take her to a specialist?
Now that both the girls were old enough, their parents were worried about their marriages. Emily's mother was more worried because she was an ordinary looking girl and she had a bit dark complexion. But Angel's parents were not worried as she was very beautiful.
Hey, Nancy, please come here.
What happened? Why are you shouting like this? Did you win a lottery or something?
You can say that. But first put that rolling pin down. I'm still scared of that thing.
Stop this nonsense. You have a grown-up daughter and yet you behave like a child.
Let it aside. Now start making arrangements for the marriage.
What are you saying? Are you getting married again?
Only a stupid will repeat such mistake again. Don't you know? I'm not talking about my marriage, but Angel's marriage.
Really? My prayers have been answered. Then Rick shows Nancy a photograph of Edward and gives her the good news. Nancy was very happy after hearing this news. He's so handsome and he lives in America. If he marries our daughter, then she will be very lucky.
Of course. Our daughter is going to live in America. Tomorrow his family is coming to meet Angel. You make all the necessary arrangements.
Yes, he's obviously going to like Angel. But she has to like him too. I will call her and tell her about this boy. Angel and Emily left the office and Angel wanted to eat hot dogs.
Emily, let's go eat hot dogs. It's my treat.
What happened? You're very happy today?
Yeah, Mother called me and said that tomorrow a boy is coming to meet me and he is settled in America.
Emily was very happy to hear that. Oh, that's a great news. I will give ice cream treat. Both of them enjoyed hot dog and ice cream and then left for their homes.
Okay, bye Emily. Will you come to my house tomorrow? I'm confused. What should I wear? Your choice is very nice. Please come at any cost, huh?
Of course, I will come and I will help you in getting ready. And you don't even need makeup. You are very beautiful. The boy is going to agree to this marriage.
Yeah, that's true. But still, I have to look best.
They were walking to the bus stop while chatting when a blind man bumped into Angel and his books fell down on the road. Angel got very angry due to this.
What are you doing, you blind fool? Where are you going? You ruined my dress.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm really blind.
You are still arguing with me? You see a beautiful girl and purposely bump into me. I know all your tricks.
Angel kept fighting with that blind man. But Emily did not like it. Angel, please calm down. He did not bump into you purposely. He stumbled due to this stone. He must have lost his balance.
Oh yeah, he lost the balance when he saw a girl. Don't take his side, okay?
Emily picked up the books from road and gave it to the blind man. Here are your books. I'm sorry. It was our mistake too. We were talking and didn't pay attention. We are sorry.
Sorry, my foot.
Then the blind man left. Next day, Emily went to Angel's house to help her. Angel was looking very pretty. Angel, you are looking gorgeous. There is no chance that the boy would say no to you.
Yes, I know that. But I will miss you, dear. Why don't you also get married to a America settled boy and shift there?
Emily smiles at her face. I don't know whether I will get married or not, but I wish you all the happiness. After some time, Edward and his parents arrived at Angel's house.
Please come in. You are welcome in my small house. Uncle, your small house is very modern. You have AC, TV and sofa too.
Everyone laughs at his word.
Where is your daughter? Edward selected her from the internet and was praising her a lot.
Rick called his daughter and Angel came with a tray full of tea and snacks. Emily also came out with her. Edward's parents were very happy to see Angel's beauty. Your daughter is very pretty. We want a beautiful daughter-in-law just like her for our only son.
Come here, dear. Take a seat.
Angel sat on a sofa. She became very happy when everyone was praising her for her beauty. She liked Edward very much. We liked your daughter. Now let both of them decide.
Angel, do you like Edward?
Angel glanced at Edward and said yes.
Then let's eat some sweets. 1 minute, uncle.
Everyone started looking at Edward.
What happened, son? You selected her after seeing her photo online. Is there any problem?
Father, please don't take it wrong way, but I don't want to marry Angel.
Everyone was shocked to hear this.
What happened, son? Is there some misunderstanding? My daughter is very special. Yes, she is very special as she has very beautiful face. But what about her heart? I want to marry Angel's friend Emily. If she is ready for this.
This confused everyone even more.
What are you saying, my son? Why are you rejecting such a beautiful girl? And instead you want to marry her ordinary looking friend? Why? Because by God's grace, I found out the truth before it's too late.
What do you mean?
Maybe you didn't recognize me. I'm the blind man who bumped into you yesterday at the bus stop.
Angel and Emily remembered the last evening's incident.
Oh, it was you?
But we still didn't get why you are rejecting Angel. Because yesterday's incident showed me that your daughter only looks beautiful, but she don't have beautiful nature. And to have a happy life, kind nature is more important than the beautiful face, which I found in Emily, and hence I want to marry her.
After hearing his words, Angel regretted her action. She was about to cry. And Emily was also shocked due to this. Edward went to his knees and proposed Emily in filmy style.
Will you marry me?
Everyone waited for Emily's answer now. But I can't come to America with you. Everyone was surprised after hearing this.
May I know the reason for this?
My mother is always sick and there is no one to take care of her. My father is no more and hence I'm her only support. Everyone gets emotional after hearing this. Edward thought for a while.
What are you thinking about, my son? Father, if I leave the American job and come back to India, will you be upset?
His words shocked Angel's parents.
Not at all. You can do as you wish. We'll support you. Emily, if I settled in India, will you marry me then?
Due to Edward's politeness and understanding nature, Emily couldn't reject him. She blushed.
Thank you, Emily. I wanted to marry a girl who is humble, kind and well-mannered.
You see, friends, Emily's good nature gave her happiness. So one has to see a person's nature that stays with them forever. Angel lost a good life partner due to her nature. So, let's say goodbye. I will meet you soon with another interesting story. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.
Squirrel and Stone Walnut. There was a big tree in a forest. Many monkeys and squirrels were living on that tree. Among these squirrels, there was a big squirrel named Innie. Innie used to tease everyone around and stole others' food and ate. On the same tree, one more squirrel lived named Minnie. Minnie went out daily to find walnuts and brought them for everyone. This Minnie brings walnuts every day, but never shares it with me. Today I will take all her walnuts. Hey, listen Minnie, whatever food you brought to eat, give it to me right now. No, I'm not going to give it to you. These are for my friends. Look, I'm telling you for the last time. Give me these walnuts. No, I'm not scared of you. I'm not going to give you these walnuts. Okay, now wait and watch. Innie takes the basket from Minnie's hands and climbs on the tree. As she goes to her house, she eats all the walnuts. Next day, again like every day, Minnie goes out to bring food. Even today I will have so much fun. After a while, Minnie brings food once more. Innie again runs away with the food. Now it becomes everyday routine. I have to teach a lesson to Innie, but how? I have to do something today. Today you will learn a lesson, Innie. Like every day, Minnie goes out to bring food. Today also I will eat Minnie's food. After some time, Minnie comes back along with food. After seeing this, Innie jumps from the tree and grabs Minnie's food and starts running towards her house. Minnie starts smiling and calls all her friends to see Innie's fun. They all hide outside Innie's house to watch her. As soon as Innie starts eating walnut, her tooth broke. Ah! Oh God! What is this? Watching this, Minnie and her friends laugh. Foolish Innie, these are not walnuts. These are stones that look like walnuts. So, how do you feel now? Would you bother someone? No. Forgive me, my friends. Like this, Innie realizes her mistake and everyone starts living happily. So friends, from this story, we must learn that we should never bother anyone. Lazy Donkey. Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived a hard-working merchant. The merchant had many animals. All the animals were loyal and efficient to him. However, he also had a donkey who was very lazy and only preferred sleeping and eating. Come on, let us see the story of this lazy donkey.
I don't see the donkey anywhere. Is he still sleeping? He has to carry salt sacks today.
Master, I will go and look for him.
Oh,
Hey, Lazy Jack, get up soon. You have to carry salt bags today.
Leave me alone. I want to sleep for some more time.
Let me teach this lazy donkey a lesson.
This monkey tries to please the master all the time. The monkey should be made to carry all the load, and only then will he know how difficult it is.
We will be selling salt for a few days.
Yes, master.
Time to work, Jack.
Why are you two fooling around when there is so much work to do? Stop it!
the merchant and the donkey left for their work. However, the lazy donkey was not at all happy with the task that was given to him.
Hurry up!
Master, I am tired.
Tired so soon? Stop being lazy and hurry up!
Donkey's tactics did not work in front of his master, for he knew that the donkey was lazy.
Oh gosh, the heat is unbearable! The cool river water seems to be calling me.
Hey! What are you doing?
Interesting. The load seems to have reduced.
You foolish donkey! Do you even know what you have done? All the salt must have dissolved in the water!
Please pardon me, master. I slipped accidentally.
All right. But I hope you didn't hurt yourself.
No, master.
The merchant's salt sacks were destroyed, so the merchant and the donkey left for their house.
Why didn't I think of this brilliant idea before?
The donkey realized that the load was getting lighter when he fell in the water. So he purposely started slipping into the river every day so that the sacks became lighter.
There's been so much loss since the last few days.
Hey, donkey, you better be careful today. Don't ruin Master's salt bags.
The donkey didn't care about the great loss he was causing to his master. As usual, he went near the river and purposely slipped.
Oh no, not again!
Forgive me, master, but it's too slippery out here.
What happened, Master?
The donkey is fooling me.
Why do you think so?
Something is fishy. Every day, the donkey slips in the water exactly at the same place and ruins my salt bags.
In order to teach the donkey a lesson, the monkey and merchant decide to put cotton instead of salt in the sacks. Now let's see what will happen.
This will surely teach the donkey a lesson.
The load feels so light today. A dip in the water and the weight will totally disappear.
What is so funny right now?
Nothing, master.
Stop laughing and do some work.
Good heavens! Why isn't the load decreasing?
To the horror of the donkey, the load on his back had become 10 times heavier as the cotton had absorbed all the water.
You were fooling me all along, weren't you? Because of your laziness, I have lost so much money. I hope this turns out to be a good lesson for you.
I am so sorry, master.
The donkey learned his lesson, and from that day onwards, the donkey never fell in the water purposely. Be it rain or shine, the donkey carried the load happily. The moral of the story is, avoiding work leads to more work. Ugly Duckling. Once upon a time, in an old farm, there lived a lovely duck. The duck had laid a clutch of new eggs and was now sitting on them happily, expecting to build her new family. The long wait was now over. After some time, the eggs cracked, and out popped 6 chirpy ducklings with bright eyes and pretty little beaks. Mother Duck was very happy. One egg was left to hatch. This egg was much bigger compared to the other eggs.
This egg is quite big. Maybe that's why it's taking so much time. But that's all right. I will wait for my baby. I'm sure the little duckling will be worth all the wait.
Finally, the eggs started to crack, and out came the last duckling. But Mother Duck's happiness soon turned into confusion. For the 7th duckling was quite different from the rest, and wasn't pretty. Mother Duck was upset, but her motherly instincts made her embrace the ugly duckling into the brood as well. But the rest of the flock was not kind towards the ugly duckling.
You look strange and ugly. Stay away from us.
On hearing such harsh words, Ugly Duckling was heartbroken and upset.
My siblings won't play with me. Am I so ugly?
Time passed and the ducklings were growing up. The duckling still wouldn't play with the ugly duckling and remained indifferent towards him.
Haven't we warned you enough already that we don't want to play with you? Stay away from us, ugly duckling.
Don't be so mean to your own sibling.
Mom, when will my siblings start liking me?
Don't be upset, for a day will come when you will know your worth.
All of a sudden, a hunter entered the pond and started attacking the ducks. The cruel hunter captured the mother duck.
Wait, Mom! Mommy was the only one who cared for me. Now there's no point staying here. I must leave.
Ugly Duckling left the place with a heavy heart, but he still hoped to find a nicer family to call his own. On his way, the duckling saw beautiful birds, but even those birds drove him away.
I'm so ugly that no one wants to play with me or even talk to me. I guess I'm destined to be alone.
Poor Duckling stayed isolated in a cave. It seemed as if the weather had also turned against him, with the biting frost and cold. Ugly Duckling had decided to finally step out of the cave. The ugly duckling was in reality a beautiful swan, but he had no idea. As he stepped out into the pond, he saw a flock of swans floating majestically in the water.
Wow, these swans are so beautiful.
Hey, buddy. Isn't the weather lovely? Come over and join us for a swim.
Ugly Duckling was surprised by the friendly invitation. Ugly Duckling excitedly waddled his way into the water and was taken aback by his reflection in the water.
Whoa! I can't believe this! Is that really me? I'm a beautiful swan!
Ugly Duckling's happiness knew no bounds, as he had finally found acceptance in his life as a swan.
Wow! What beautiful birds!
Ugly Duckling was now one of the beautiful swans. The moral of the story is, we shouldn't discriminate people based on their physical appearance. The Wolf and the 7 Little Goats. Once upon a time, in a dense forest, 7 adorable little goats lived with their mother. The mother goat loved her kids unconditionally and took great care of them. Every day, the mother goat would go out into the forest to collect some food for her little ones. The little goats would stay alone and played with each other till their mother came home. One day, a sneaky wolf got to know that 7 little goats were all alone in their home.
7 delicious little goats. It would be so much fun to feast on them.
Dear children, I have to go into the forest to fetch food for us. When I come home, I would sing a song. Only then should you open the door.
Mother Goat's instructions scared the little goats. When Mom left the house, the kids started playing inside the house.
Open the door, dear children. Your mother is here. Open the door.
No! It is not our mother! We can recognize our mother's sweet voice. You are the big bad wolf, right? Go away!
Looks like I would need some honey to sweeten my voice.
No sooner had the wolf hit the honeycomb with a stone, all the bees attacked him. The foolish wolf thought that the honey would immediately turn his voice sweet. The wolf came back, knocking at the door of the house, and started singing.
Little ones, open the door. I am your mother calling. The bad wolf is no longer there.
But the little goats were clever and did not open the door.
All right, don't open the door. Now see what I will do.
The wolf broke open the door and growled as he showed his teeth. The little goats were shocked and started running helter-skelter. They hid themselves wherever they possibly could. The tiniest goat hid herself in a tall clock case.
So, little kids, where are you all hiding? This is not the time to play a game with me. Oh, come on. You can play in my tummy once I have gobbled you up.
Wolf found the little goats from their hidings one by one and then dumped them in a sack and took them away. The tiniest goat, hiding in the clock case, was the only one he did not find. The mother goat was shocked to see the door open when she returned back. Oh, what a sight she saw there! Everything was a mess and there were large footprints of the wolf on the floor. Mother Goat started weeping bitterly for her dear children. Oh, Mommy dear! The big bad wolf came and took all my siblings away. Mother Goat and the little goat went looking for the big bad wolf.
Do you know where the big bad wolf resides?
The mother goat silently peeped into the wolf's house. The little goat recognized the sack and told her mother. Mommy, the wolf had put everyone in this sack!
I need more wood to cook a sumptuous meal.
The very instant the wolf headed outside, the mother goat and little goat hurriedly entered the house and opened the sack. Before the wolf could come back, they put stones inside the sack and quickly hid themselves. Excited to cook his grand meal, the wolf checked the sack from afar and happily began the preparations.
Now let's teach that wolf a good lesson.
Oh, no, I can't be sharing my food with the lion.
The wolf quickly lifted the sack and rushed toward the forest. Goat's children kept roaring to scare the wolf.
Why does this feel so heavy?
The wolf began to run really fast. The wolf was exhausted and accidentally fell into the river. A hungry crocodile in the river soon feasted on the wolf. The big bad wolf was no more. So, friends, the moral of the story is, do not let others exploit your gentleness.